The problem reads, Farmer Rampersad planted 3/8 of her farmland with coconuts and 4/5 of the remainder with bananas. She has 2.5 acres left to plant rice. How many acres of land are planted with bananas? From our problem, we can clearly see that there are 3 crops. And we know for sure that 3/8 of the farmland is planted with coconuts. And we can also see that 4/5 of the remainder was used to plant bananas. But before we can find that, we first have to find out what is the remainder. Now let us look at the entire farmland as being a whole divided up into 8 equal parts. Why 8? Because here our denominator is 8. And remember, the denominator tells us how many equal parts the whole is divided into. So therefore, we are saying that 3 out of those 8 parts were used to plant coconuts. So then 5 out of 8 parts would remain. So now that we know what is the remainder, we can go ahead and find out what fraction of the farmland was used to plant bananas. As it says here, 4/5 of the remainder was used to plant bananas. So now we have to find out what is 4/5 of 5/8. And that is equal to a half. So half of the farmland was used to plant bananas. So now that we know the fraction of the farmland that was used to plant coconuts and bananas, we can determine what fraction of the farmland remained to plant rice. And to do that, we have to add coconuts and bananas. Now, 3/8 plus a half would give us 7/8. So that is telling us that 7 out of 8 parts of the farmland were used to plant coconuts and bananas. So therefore, 1 out of 8 parts would remain to plant the rice. So now we know the fraction of the farmland that is left to plant rice, and that is 1/8. So let's go back to the problem now. It says here that she has 2.5 acres left to plant rice. Therefore, this 1/8 is equal to 2.5 acres. Now, if 1 out of 8 part is equal to 2.5 acres, we can use the equivalent fraction method to determine what the entire farmland is equal to. How many acres of land makes up the entire farmland? Now remember, for equivalent fractions, whatever you do to the top, you must also do to the bottom, whether you're dividing or multiplying. Now in this case, what times 1 would give us 2.5, and we know that would be the same number itself, 2.5. So therefore, we have to multiply the 8 by 2.5, and that will give us 20. So the entire farmland is made up of 20 acres. So now we can answer the question, how many acres of land are planted with bananas? So we know that half of the farmland was planted with bananas, and we know the entire farmland is made up of 20 acres. So we can find out what is half of 20 acres. So half of 20 acres would be equal to 10 acres. Therefore, 10 acres of Farmer Rampersad's farmland was planted with bananas.